The council chamber was the largest room Hana had ever seen. 40 different species sat in the circular hall, each one representing their world and people. The ceiling stretched so high above that clouds sometimes formed near the top. Today, the room buzzed with nervous energy. War was coming, and everyone knew it. Hana stood at the center of the chamber, feeling small under so many eyes. She was human, though most people in the room had never met one before. She had spent years studying old records and traveling to abandoned worlds. What she found convinced her that humanity still existed somewhere in the dark spaces between stars. High Chancellor Vorn looked down at her from his elevated seat. He was Keltharian, with silver skin and forearms that moved slowly as he spoke. His species had led the Galactic Council for 3 centuries. They were known for being careful and wise, but also stubborn. Ambassador Hana, Vorn said, his voice echoing through the chamber. You have requested this emergency session. Please present your evidence. Hana activated her display. Images filled the air above the chamber floor. They showed Talvaron warships, hundreds of them, gathered near the border of council space. The ships were massive, dark, and covered in weapons. The Talvaron Empire has conquered 15 systems in the past year, Hana explained. Their fleet is 3 times larger than it was 12 months ago. Intelligence shows they are preparing to invade council territory. We estimate they will attack within weeks. Murmurs spread through the chamber. Some ambassadors looked worried. Others seemed angry. A few appeared bored, as if they had heard this before. Vorn raised one hand for silence. We are aware of the Talvaron situation. The Council has defense packs with 30 systems. Our combined fleet numbers over 2,000 ships. We have superior numbers and defensive positions. With respect, Chancellor, numbers are not everything. Hana changed the display to show battle analyses. The Talvarons have new weapons. Their ships are faster than ours. In every recent battle, they have won even when outnumbered. What do you suggest? Asked Ambassador Rella. She was ancient, even by the standards of her species. The architects kept records going back thousands of years. Her eyes seemed to hold secrets that she would never share. Hana took a breath. This was the moment she had been preparing for. I suggest we seek help from humanity. Silence fell over the chamber. Then someone laughed. It was a harsh barking sound. More laughter followed, spreading like fire through dry grass. Vorn's expression did not change. Ambassador Hana, humanity is extinct. They vanished 300 years ago. The records are clear. The records show that humans left, Hana said firmly, not that they died. I have visited their old colonies. The evacuation was planned and orderly. They took everything with them. They did not flee in panic. They chose to leave. A Vorian ambassador stood up, his scales gleaming under the chamber lights. Even if humans survived, why would they help us? They abandoned the galaxy. And the old stories about human warriors are just propaganda. Myths told to scare children. I agree, said another voice. This one came from the observer section. General Cross stepped forward, his armored boots clicking on the stone floor. The Talvaron commander was here as part of diplomatic protocol, though everyone knew it was really to watch and intimidate. Cross was tall and broad, with dark red skin and eyes like chips of black glass. When he smiled, it showed too many teeth. Humans were never as strong as the legends claim. My ancestors fought them once long ago. Yes, humans were fierce, but they were not unbeatable. They bled and died like everyone else. He walked closer to where Hana stood. If humans still exist, if they hide in some dark corner of space, then they are cowards. The Talvaron Empire would crush them just as we will crush this council. Your legends are nothing but old lies. More laughter echoed through the chamber. Hana felt her face grow hot with anger and embarrassment. She had expected doubt, but not this open mockery. Vorn spoke again. Ambassador Hana, I respect your dedication, but we cannot base military strategy on myths. The Council will mobilize our defense fleet. We will position ships at key locations. The Talvarons will find us ready. Chancellor, please, Hana started. The matter is decided, Vorn said. His tone was gentle but final. We will not waste resources searching for ghosts. The chamber began voting. Holographic displays showed the results in real time. One by one, the votes came in. 37-3. The Council would prepare for war using their own forces. There would be no search for humanity. Hana watched the numbers appear, feeling her hope drain away. She had been so sure. She had evidence, research, years of work, but it meant nothing against centuries of accepted truth. As the session ended, ambassadors began filing out. Some gave Hana sympathetic looks, others shook their heads. Crost walked past her, still smiling that terrible smile. "Good luck, little human," he said softly. "You will need it." Hana stood alone in the emptying chamber. The displays faded. The lights dimmed. She felt more isolated than ever. "They are fools." Hana turned. Rella was standing nearby, her ancient eyes watching Hana carefully. "They laugh because they are afraid," Rella continued. "The Talvarans are stronger than anyone wants to admit, and the idea of humans returning scares them even more than the Talvarans do." "Then you believe me?" Hana asked. "You think humans are still out there?" Rella smiled, a small expression on her weathered face. "I know they are. My people have kept certain records that others have forgotten, but knowledge and action are different things. What will you do now?" Hana looked around the empty chamber. She thought about the coming war, about the people who would die, about the Talvaran fleet waiting in the darkness. The council would not help her search for humanity, but no one had said she could not search on her own. "I will find them myself," she said quietly. Rella nodded as if she had expected this answer. "Then I will give you something." She pulled out a small data device and pressed it into Hana's hand. "Coordinates. Places where human energy signatures were detected. Most people think the readings are errors or natural phenomena, but you and I know better." "Thank you," Hana whispered. "Be careful," Rella warned. "If you find what you are looking for, nothing will ever be the same again. The galaxy is not ready for humanity to return, but ready or not, war is coming, and perhaps humans are exactly what we need." Hana left the council chamber with new purpose. They had laughed at her. They had dismissed her evidence and called her beliefs foolish. But she knew the truth. Somewhere in the outer darkness, humanity waited, and she would find them, even if she had to search every abandoned system between here and the galaxy's edge. Behind her, the empty chamber fell silent. The place where 40 species had voted against hope. Soon, very soon, they would learn that some legends existed for a reason, and that the greatest mistake was not believing in myths. It was forgetting why those myths were told in the first place. The outer rim was a graveyard of lost civilizations. Dead worlds circled dying stars, their surfaces marked by the ruins of those who had lived and left. Hana's ship moved through this darkness like a whisper, following coordinates that should not exist. 3 weeks had passed since the council meeting. 3 weeks of traveling alone through empty space, chasing shadows and old data. Hana's crew had refused to come with her. They thought she was crazy. Maybe they were right, but she could not stop now. The coordinates Rella had given her led to a system marked as uninhabitable. According to official records, the radiation levels were deadly. Ships avoided this region. It was considered a wasteland, a dead zone where nothing could survive. But Hana's sensors told a different story. The radiation was there, yes, but it was artificial. Someone had created it like a fence to keep others away. And beneath that radiation, her instruments detected something else. Energy signatures. Faint but unmistakable. Someone was here. She brought her ship closer to the third planet. It had once been called New Pyongyang, a human colony established 400 years ago. The planet's surface was gray and cold, with abandoned cities visible from orbit. Streets and buildings stood empty, preserved by the thin atmosphere. Hana landed near one of the cities and suited up. The walk through the empty streets felt like walking through a museum. Everything was intact. Too intact. This was not the result of a disaster or panic. The buildings were locked properly. The streets were clean. Personal belongings had been carefully removed. This was not evacuation. This was migration. The humans had not fled. They had simply left, taking everything that mattered with them. Back in her ship, Hana pushed deeper into the system. The energy signatures grew stronger. They were coming from beyond the asteroid belt in a region her maps showed as empty. Then her proximity alarm screamed. A ship appeared on her sensors. It had been hiding in the asteroid field, invisible until it chose to reveal itself. The vessel was small, sleek, and unlike anything Hana had seen before. Its hull absorbed light instead of reflecting it. Its energy signature was completely different from any known technology. A communication request flashed on her console. Hana accepted it with shaking hands. The face that appeared on her screen was human. Young female with sharp eyes that studied Hana carefully. "This is Captain Mirai of the Human Defense Force. You are in restricted space. Identify yourself immediately. Hana could barely breathe. My name is Hana. I am an ambassador for the Galactic Council. I came here looking for humanity. Mirei's expression did not change. You found us. The question is why you were looking. The galaxy needs your help. The Talvaron Empire is preparing to invade Council space. We do not have the strength to stop them. That is not our problem, Mirei said flatly. Humanity left the galaxy 300 years ago. We have not interfered since. We have no intention of returning. Please, Hana said. Millions will die. Entire civilizations will fall. You have the power to help. Mirei was quiet for a long moment. Stand by for boarding. If you make any hostile moves, my ship will destroy yours in less than a second. Do you understand? Hana nodded quickly. I understand. The human ship docked smoothly with Hana's vessel. The airlocks connected with a soft hiss. Hana waited in her cargo bay as the door opened. Captain Mirei entered, followed by 2 soldiers. They wore armor that seemed to shift and change color, adapting to the light around them. Their weapons were compact but looked extremely advanced. Every movement was precise and professional. Mirei looked around the cargo bay, her eyes missing nothing. You came alone. Either you are very brave or very foolish, a little of both, Hana admitted. The council laughed when I suggested finding humanity. They said you were extinct. They called the legends about human warriors nothing but myths. Something flickered in Mirei's eyes. The legends. Yes, I have read the old records. Stories about human soldiers who never surrendered. About fleets that appeared from nowhere. About weapons that could crack planets. She paused. Most of those stories were exaggerated. But not all of them. Then why did humanity leave? Hana asked. If you were so powerful, why hide? Mirei walked to a viewport and looked out at the stars. Because we were tired of war. For 300 years before we left, humanity was constantly pulled into conflicts. Border disputes, trade wars, territorial fights. Other species expected us to solve their problems with violence. They used our strength and then feared us for it. So we made a choice, Mirei continued. We withdrew completely. We built new homes in the outer darkness in places where no one would look. We have been watching the galaxy from the shadows for 3 centuries. Learning, growing, waiting. Waiting for what? Hana asked. We are still deciding that question, Mirei said. She turned back to face Hana. But now you are here asking for exactly what we left behind. You want humanity to fight your wars again. Not my war, Hana said firmly. Our war. The Talvarons will not stop with Council space. They are expanding in all directions. Eventually they will find your hidden worlds. They will come for you too. Mirei studied her for a long moment. You make a fair point. But this decision is not mine to make. If you truly want humanity's help, you will need to speak with Admiral Taiho. He commands the defense fleet. He will decide whether we remain hidden or return to the galaxy. Will you take me to him? Hana asked. Against my better judgment, yes. Mirei gestured to her soldiers. We will bring your ship with us. You will see things that are supposed to remain secret. If the Admiral decides not to help, you will not be allowed to leave and share what you learn. Do you accept these terms? Hana did not hesitate. I accept. Then follow us, Mirei said. And prepare yourself. You think you know what humanity is capable of. You are wrong. They traveled for 3 days through hyperspace. Hana's ship was pulled along by some kind of tether field she did not understand. The journey took them further from known space than she had ever been. The stars themselves looked different here, arranged in patterns she did not recognize. When they finally dropped back into normal space, Hana gasped. Before her was a construct so massive it defied belief. A station larger than most moons, built into an asteroid cluster. Thousands of ships moved around it in precise patterns. Shipyards stretched into the distance, building vessels that made Council warships look like toys. This is Sanctuary Station. Mirei's voice came through the communication system. Home to the human defense fleet. Population 2 million. Ship complement. 1,500 warships, 3,000 support vessels, and counting. Welcome to what humanity has been building while the galaxy forgot about us. Hana stared at the impossible sight before her. The Council believed humanity was extinct. The Talvarons thought humans were weak. Everyone had dismissed the old legends as exaggerations. They were all wrong. Terribly, catastrophically wrong. Humanity had not faded into history. They had been preparing. And now Hana had found them. The question was whether they would choose to save a galaxy that had forgotten them, or remain hidden while civilizations burned. As her ship approached the massive station, Hana realized that everything was about to change. One way or another, the galaxy would never be the same again. Centralis, smaller, functional, built for decisions rather than display. Steel walls reflected the cold light from overhead panels. A circular table dominated the center, surrounded by chairs occupied by senior human officers. Hana stood at one end of the table, feeling dozens of eyes studying her. These were the people who commanded humanity's hidden forces: admirals, generals, strategic planners. Each one carried themselves with the confidence of someone who had spent decades preparing for a moment that might never come. At the head of the table sat Admiral Taiho. He was older than the others, with gray hair and lines on his face that spoke of hard decisions. His eyes were sharp and calculating. When he looked at Hana, she felt like he was reading every thought in her head. "Ambassador Hana," Taiho said, his voice calm and measured. "Captain Mirai has explained how you found us. She says you came alone, which shows either courage or desperation. I suspect it is both." "Both, yes," Hana admitted. "The Galactic Council would not listen to me. They said humanity was extinct. They laughed when I suggested seeking your help." "Good," said a woman to Taiho's left. She was Commander Junho, the fleet's chief of engineering. "If they had believed you, they would have sent a military fleet to find us. You came with open hands instead of weapons. That is why you are still alive." Hana swallowed hard. The threat was casual but real. "I came to ask for help, not to threaten you. The Talvaron Empire is preparing to invade. Their fleet is massive and growing. The Council's forces cannot stop them. Then the Council will fall," Taiho said bluntly. "This is tragic, but it is not our responsibility. We left galactic politics 300 years ago. We chose isolation for a reason." "Why did you leave?" Hana asked. "I have read the historical records. They say humanity vanished after a plague, or a civil war, or that you angered some powerful species. But none of those stories make sense. Not after seeing this." She gestured around the chamber toward the station beyond. Taiho leaned back in his chair. "The truth is simpler and more complicated than the legends. We left because we were tired of being used. Every time there was a conflict, someone called for human intervention. They wanted our soldiers, our ships, our willingness to fight. And when the fighting was done, they feared us, resented us. We were useful until we were dangerous. So humanity decided to disappear," Mirai added from her seat. "We spent 50 years planning the withdrawal. Every colony evacuated in perfect coordination. We made it look sudden to avoid pursuit. We left behind false clues suggesting disaster, and then we came here to the places no one else wanted. We built this." She gestured to the chamber around them. "We built a society without wars. We focused on advancement instead of conflict. And now I'm asking you to return to that conflict," Hana said quietly. "I understand why you would refuse. But you came anyway," Taiho observed. "Tell me why." "The truth," Hana met his eyes. "Because millions will die. Because civilizations will fall. And because the Talvarons will not stop at Council space. They are expanding in every direction. Your isolation protects you now, but for how long? A decade? 2? Eventually they will find you. And when they do, there will be no one left to stand with you." Silence filled the chamber. The officers looked at each other. Some nodded slowly. Others frowned. Commander Junho spoke up. "She is right. Our intelligence has been tracking Talvaron expansion for 5 years. They are not just conquering territory. They are methodically mapping the entire outer rim. 3 of their scout ships have already probed the edge of our space. We destroyed them, but more will come." Another officer stood. "If we reveal ourselves now, we become a target. Every species in the galaxy will either want our help or fear our power. We will be right back where we started. Unless we control how we reveal ourselves," Mirai said thoughtfully. "We chose when to leave. We can choose when to return. And we can control the message." Taiho raised a hand for silence. The room immediately quieted. "The question before us is not whether the galaxy needs help. It does. The question is whether humanity should be the one to provide that help. And if we do, what comes after?" He stood and walked to a large display on the wall. With a gesture, he activated it. Images appeared showing the Talvaron fleet, their conquered territories, projected expansion routes. If we remain hidden, the Talvarons will eventually find us. Commander Junho is correct about that. If we intervene with overwhelming force, We become the new threat that everyone fears. We replace one empire with the possibility of another. He turned to face the assembled officers. But there is a third option. We reveal ourselves as protectors, not conquerors, Mirai said, understanding immediately. We save the council without dominating it. Exactly, Tejo confirmed. We demonstrate our strength, yes, but also our restraint. We show that humanity has grown beyond the warriors they remember. We are stronger, yes, but also wiser. Hana felt hope rising in her chest. You will help. I am considering it, Tejo said carefully. But there are conditions. We will not join the council. We will not accept political authority over others. We intervene as allies, not rulers. Can you accept that? Yes, Hana said immediately. I do not want rulers. I want saviors. Tejo nodded slowly. He looked around the table. We vote. Those in favor of intervention, raise your hand. Mirai's hand went up first, then Junho's. One by one, hands rose around the table. When the count was finished, 23 officers had voted yes. Only 5 voted no. The decision is made, Tejo announced. The Human Defense Fleet will mobilize. We will. An alarm cut him off. Red lights flashed throughout the chamber. A communications officer burst through the door, breathing hard. Admiral, priority message from our scouts in council space. The Talvaron Empire has launched their invasion. The council fleet is engaged at Centralis. They are losing badly. The chamber erupted in controlled chaos. Officers jumped to their feet, already moving toward their stations. Displays lit up with tactical data. Ship deployment schedules appeared in the air. Tejo remained calm in the center of the storm. He looked at Hana. It seems we no longer have time for careful planning. The galaxy is burning. We move now or we watch it fall. He turned to his officers. Sound general alert. All ships prepare for immediate departure. We jump to Centralis in 1 hour. Combat configuration. Full battle readiness, sir, Mirai said, excitement and nervousness mixing in her voice. This is it. After 300 years, humanity returns. Yes, Tejo said quietly. And the galaxy is about to learn that the legends were not exaggerations. If anything, they were understatements. The humans they feared are nothing compared to what we have become. Hana stood in the chamber as the officers rushed past her, each moving with purpose toward their destiny. She had come seeking help. She had found an army that had been preparing for this moment for 3 centuries. The Talvarons thought they were conquering a weak council. They had no idea what was coming for them. Soon, very soon, the galaxy would remember why humans were legendary, and they would discover that some legends were born from truth. Space around Centralis was burning. Debris from destroyed ships spun through the darkness, glowing with the heat of recent explosions. The council fleet fought desperately, but they were losing. Badly. High Chancellor Vorn watched from the planetary command center, his 4 arms gripping the edges of his console. Tactical displays showed the horrible truth. Of the 2,000 council ships that had formed the defensive line, fewer than 800 remained. The Talvaron dreadnoughts pushed forward relentlessly, their dark hulls absorbing weapon fire that should have destroyed them. All defense stations are falling back, reported a tactical officer. His voice shook with barely controlled fear. The enemy will reach orbital range in 20 minutes. When that happens, they can bombard the surface. Vorn felt centuries of careful peace crumbling around him. The council had maintained stability through diplomacy and economic power. They had avoided major conflicts. But now, faced with an enemy that only understood strength, all their careful work meant nothing. Incoming transmission, another officer announced. General Crost is broadcasting on all channels. The display shifted to show the Talvaron commander. Crost sat in his command throne, looking pleased with himself. Behind him, his bridge crew worked efficiently, managing the systematic destruction of council forces. High Chancellor Vorn, Crost said, his voice filled with mock respect. Your fleet is broken. Your defenses are failing. I offer one chance for surrender. Lower your planetary shields. Accept Talvaron authority. In exchange, I will spare most of your population. Refuse and we will reduce your cities to ash. Vorn wanted to refuse. He wanted to fight to the last. But he thought of the billions of people on Centralis. The families. The children. Could he sacrifice them all for pride? You have 10 minutes to decide, Cross said. Choose wisely. The transmission ended. The command center fell silent. Everyone looked at Vorn, waiting for his decision. He closed his eyes, feeling the weight of leadership crushing down on him. Perhaps surrender was the only option. Perhaps, Chancellor. A sensor operator jumped to her feet. New contacts. Multiple jump signatures appearing at the edge of the system. Hundreds of them. Vorn's eyes snapped open. Reinforcements? From where? Unknown, the operator said, her hands flying across her console. These signatures are unlike anything in our database. They are massive. Power readings are off the scale. Sir, these ships are more advanced than anything we have ever seen. The display changed to show the new arrivals. Space itself seemed to tear open as ship after ship emerged from hyperspace. They came in perfect formation. Hundreds of vessels arranged in precise geometric patterns. Each ship was sleek and dangerous, their hulls darker than the space around them. At the center of the formation was a ship larger than any dreadnought Vorn had ever seen. It moved with impossible grace for something so massive. Every line of its design spoke of deadly purpose. They are broadcasting, the communications officer said, identifying themselves as the Human Defense Fleet. Lead ship is the Indomitable, commanded by Admiral Taiho. The command center erupted in shocked voices. Human? Impossible. Humans were extinct. Everyone knew that. But the ships were real and they were here. Aboard his flagship, General Crost received the same information. His smile faded. Humans? Scan those ships immediately. I want to know what we are facing. His tactical officer worked frantically. Sir, their shields are unlike anything in our records. Energy signatures suggest power generation capacity exceeding our entire fleet combined. Weapon systems are... I cannot identify half of what I am seeing. Sir, these ships are decades, maybe centuries ahead of our technology. Crost felt a cold sensation in his chest. Fear. He had not felt that emotion in years. It does not matter. We outnumber them. All ships maintain offensive formation. Prepare to engage the new arrivals. The human fleet did not slow down. They accelerated directly toward the Talvaron formation, moving faster than any capital ships should be able to. The lead vessel, the Indomitable, opened a communication channel that broadcast to every ship in the system. Admiral Taiho's face appeared on every display. He looked calm, almost bored. Talvaron forces. You are in violation of Council space. You have one opportunity to withdraw. Leave immediately, or we will remove you by force. Crost laughed. You dare threaten the Talvaron Empire? We have conquered 15 systems. We have crushed fleets twice your size. You are fools who do not understand what power truly means. All ships open fire. The Talvaron fleet unleashed everything. Energy beams, missiles, kinetic rounds. Enough firepower to destroy planets. The space between the two fleets lit up like a star being born. The human shields absorbed it all. Every shot, every missile, every beam weapon. The energy simply vanished into barriers that looked like sheets of rippling water. Not a single human ship was damaged. Impossible, Crost whispered. Target their lead ships, Admiral Taiho said calmly aboard the Indomitable. Captain Mireille, you have tactical command. Show them why the legends existed. Mireille sat at the tactical station, her fingers dancing across controls that managed weapon systems beyond anything the current galaxy understood. Yes, sir. All ships execute pattern Delta 7. Focus fire on their command vessels. Disable, do not destroy. We want survivors to carry the message. The human fleet split into 3 groups with perfect coordination. They moved like wolves separating prey from a herd. The Talvaron formation, which had seemed so powerful moments ago, suddenly looked clumsy and slow. Human weapons opened fire. They were not the crude energy beams or explosive missiles of conventional warfare. These were precision instruments that cut through Talvaron shields like they did not exist. Ship after ship went dark. Their power systems disabled, their weapons offline, but their hulls intact. It was surgical, terrifying, perfect. In less than 5 minutes, half the Talvaron fleet was floating helplessly. The other half tried to retreat, but human ships appeared everywhere, blocking escape routes with impossible speed. Crost watched his fleet crumble around him. Decades of conquest, years of careful planning, all of it falling apart in minutes. How? How is this possible? His tactical officer had no answer. No one did. They were witnessing something that should not exist. A military force so advanced that the rest of the galaxy looked primitive by comparison. The Indomitable moved directly toward Crost's flagship. Weapons locked, shields charging. Taiho's voice came through again. General Crost, your fleet is defeated. You cannot win. You cannot escape. I offer the same choice you gave the council. Surrender or be destroyed. You have 60 seconds. Crost looked around his bridge. His officers stared at him, waiting. Pride told him to fight. Survival told him to accept reality. He lowered his head. All ships, stand down. We surrender. The battle ended as suddenly as it had begun. The Talvaron fleet went dark, powering down weapons and shields. Human ships surrounded them, ready to respond to any trick. In the command center on Centralis, Vorn and his staff stood in stunned silence. They had been moments from surrender, from defeat, from the end of everything they had built. And then humans had appeared from nowhere and destroyed the most powerful military force in the galaxy in less than 10 minutes. The communications officer spoke in a whisper. Sir, Admiral Taiho is requesting to speak with you. Vorn nodded slowly. Put him through. Taiho's face appeared on the main display. The human admiral looked tired but satisfied. High Chancellor Vorn, Centralis is secure. The Talvaron threat has been neutralized. We will maintain position until you can reorganize your defenses. You saved us, Vorn said, his voice barely working. Thank you. Thank Ambassador Hana, Taiho replied. She found us. She convinced us to return. We came because she believed in something the rest of you had forgotten. She believed in humanity. The transmission ended. Vorn sat down heavily in his chair. The command center slowly came back to life as officers began coordinating with the human fleet, organizing rescue operations, securing damaged vessels. Outside, the human ships maintained their formation, silent guardians watching over a galaxy that had forgotten them. The legends had been real. Every story about human military power, every myth about their weapons, every tale about their abilities, all of it had been true. And if anything, the legends had been too modest. The reality was far more impressive. 2 weeks had passed since the battle. 2 weeks since humanity had returned to a galaxy that thought them extinct. 2 weeks since everything changed. The council chamber on Centralis looked the same as it always had. The same circular hall, the same elevated seats, the same ceiling stretching impossibly high. But the atmosphere was completely different. No one was laughing now. Hana stood at the center of the chamber again, but this time she was not alone. Admiral Taiho stood beside her, his uniform crisp and perfect. Behind them, visible through the chamber's viewing windows, human warships maintained a quiet orbit around Centralis. A reminder, a promise, a warning. High Chancellor Vorn addressed them, his forearms spread in a gesture of respect. Ambassador Hana, Admiral Taiho, on behalf of the Galactic Council, I offer our deepest gratitude. You saved not just Centralis, but the entire Council. We owe you a debt that can never be fully repaid. Around the chamber, ambassadors from 40 species nodded in agreement. These were the same people who had laughed at Hana 2 weeks ago. Now they looked at her with respect, some with fear, all with new understanding. The Council would like to formally request that humanity join us, Vorn continued. We offer you a permanent seat with full authority. Your voice would carry significant weight in all decisions. We would be honored to have you among us. Murmurs of agreement filled the chamber. Many ambassadors nodded eagerly. They wanted humanity's protection. They wanted to be allied with such overwhelming power. Admiral Taiho raised his hand. The chamber fell silent immediately. That simple gesture showed how much had changed. 2 weeks ago, no one would have listened. Now everyone hung on his words. High Chancellor, I appreciate the offer, but humanity must decline. Shocked silence filled the chamber. Vorn's expression showed confusion. I do not understand. Why would you refuse? Your people deserve recognition for what you have done. Because recognition was never why we came, Taiho said calmly. 300 years ago, humanity held power in galactic affairs. We had military strength that others relied on. But that power came with expectations. Everyone wanted us to solve their problems. Everyone wanted us to fight their wars, and when we did, they feared us for it. He walked slowly around the center of the chamber, his words echoing off the stone walls. We left because we were tired of that cycle. Use and fear, over and over. We spent 3 centuries building something different. We developed our technology, yes, but more importantly, we developed our philosophy. We learned that true strength is not about domination. It is about knowing when to act and when to step back. Ambassador Rella spoke from her seat. Then what do you want, Admiral? We want to be allies, not rulers, Taiho replied. We will help protect council space. We will share some of our technology, carefully and responsibly. But we will not join your government. We will not take authority over others. Humanity will remain independent. A Vorian ambassador stood up. But without joining the council, how can we trust you? What stops you from using your power however you wish? Taiho met the ambassador's eyes. Nothing stops us. That is exactly the point. You must trust us because of our actions, not because of political agreements. We could have destroyed the Talvaron fleet completely. We chose to disable them instead. We could demand territory, resources, control. We are asking for none of those things. Trust must be earned, and we intend to earn it. Hana stepped forward. The Admiral is right. Humanity has proven something more important than military strength. They have proven wisdom. They saved us not because they want to control us, but because it was the right thing to do. That is the kind of ally we need. Commander Junho, who had accompanied Taiho to the meeting, activated a display. We are prepared to share defensive technology with Council species. Shield improvements. Sensor upgrades. Nothing offensive. We will help you protect yourselves, but we will not give you weapons to use against each other. Vorn considered this carefully. You will help us defend ourselves, but you will not rule us. You will share knowledge, but not weapons. You ask for no territory, no tribute, no political power. Correct, Taiho confirmed. Then what do you ask for? Vorn pressed. Only this, Taiho said. Respect our independence. Do not interfere with our territory. And remember that we are watching. We will not tolerate aggression, conquest, or genocide. Any species that threatens galactic stability will face us, not as conquerors but as guardians. Rella smiled, her ancient face showing approval. The humans have learned wisdom indeed. Very well. I support this arrangement. One by one, other ambassadors voiced their agreement. Some did so reluctantly, clearly uncomfortable with a power they could not control. Others seemed relieved, grateful for protection without domination. Vorn raised his hands. Then let it be recorded. The Galactic Council recognizes humanity as an independent ally. We accept their terms and welcome their protection. May this be the beginning of a new era of cooperation. The chamber erupted in formal applause. It was nothing like the mockery Hana had faced weeks ago. This was genuine respect. Born from fear, perhaps, but also from understanding. Later, Hana and Taiho stood together on an observation deck, looking out at the fleet. Captain Mirai had joined them, along with several other officers. The Talvaron Empire has formally sued for peace, Mirai reported. They are withdrawing from all conquered territories. Their expansion has stopped. Fear is a powerful motivator, Junho observed. They saw what happened to their fleet. They know they cannot win. Fear should not be the only motivator, Taiho said quietly. In time, we must show them that cooperation is better than conquest. But that lesson takes time. For now, fear will keep the peace. Hana looked at the human admiral. You could have taken control of everything. The council would have accepted it. Many would have welcomed it. Yes, Taiho agreed. But that is why we left the first time. Power offered freely is still a trap. We would have become the thing everyone feared. Better to be the guardian in the shadows than the ruler in the light. The galaxy will talk about this for centuries, Mirai said. The return of humanity. The Battle of Centralis. Already they are calling it the Day of Revelation. Let them talk, Taiho said. Let them remember. Let them spread the story far and wide. The legend of humanity has been reborn, and this time it is backed by truth. Any species considering aggression will think twice. Any empire planning conquest will remember what happened to the Talvarons. Hana smiled. I came looking for warriors. I found something better. I found guardians. You found what humanity has always been, Taiho corrected gently. We never wanted to conquer. We wanted to protect. That is why the legends existed in the first place. People remember not just our strength, but why we used it. We fought to defend, not to dominate. They stood in comfortable silence, watching the ships move in their orbits. The human fleet would remain here for another month, helping the council rebuild. Then most of it would return to Sanctuary Station, back to the hidden spaces where humanity had built their new society. But some ships would stay. Permanent guardians stationed at key locations throughout council space, silent watchers making sure the peace held. What will you do now? Taiho asked Hana. You have succeeded beyond anyone's expectations. You found humanity. You brought us back. What comes next for you? Hana thought about it. I will stay here as ambassador. Someone needs to be the bridge between your people and mine. Someone who understands both sides. Besides, she smiled, I want to see what happens next. This is just the beginning. Indeed it is, Tejo agreed. The galaxy laughed at the legends. They mocked the very idea of humanity. Then we appeared and their mockery turned to fear. But in time, fear will become trust. Trust will become partnership. And perhaps eventually we will build something better than what existed before. Mireille would remain as well, assigned as humanity's permanent liaison to the Council. She and Hana would work together, building the relationship between old friends who had become strangers. As they left the observation deck, Hana looked back one more time at the human fleet, the ships that had been hidden for 3 centuries, the force that everyone thought was extinct, the warriors who had become legends. The legends had been true. Every story about human determination, every tale about their military prowess, every myth about their technology, all of it true and, if anything, understated. But more importantly, the part of the legend that spoke of human character had also been true. They were strong, yes, but they were also wise. They had the power to conquer, but they chose to protect instead. That was the real lesson the galaxy needed to learn. Power without wisdom leads to tyranny, but wisdom with power creates something else entirely. It creates guardians, protectors, a force that stands between the innocent and those who would harm them. The council chamber had been filled with laughter when Hana first mentioned humanity. Now it would be filled with respect. The Talvarons had learned their lesson about human strength. Soon others would learn about human wisdom. And somewhere in the darkness of space, at Sanctuary Station and other hidden places, humanity continued their work, building, learning, preparing, not for conquest, but for the next time they would be needed. Because legends do not die, they sleep, and when the time comes they wake again,